Ever since the anniversary update, the Cydia Opera Omnia has stopped working for a lot of Android emulators. So I figured I should try this game on my tablet and see how good the quality on the videos I produce is. So here I am. This will be a video that will hopefully explain a few things about Golbez's Lost Chapter Chaos, and hopefully a little bit about how Golbez plays and why I think you should pull for him. The first two waves of this fight are just trash waves, so just deal with those the way you think is most efficient. And the third wave, that's nothing special either unless you make it out to be. The Knight will constantly buff, and one of them you can dispel if you break him, and he also has some powerful Brave and HP attacks, but if you constantly keep him broken, it's not gonna be an issue. The Dragon, he has some HP attacks also, but again, if you keep him broken, he's not gonna do anything that threatening. So I'd like to take this chance to talk about Golbez a little bit, who just so happened not to receive a rework since his event because of the Imperil changes. So here's the thing about Golbez. His EX ability, Twin Meteor, which is actually 3 meteors if you invested 3 ingots into him, he will use that ability to inflict Dark Imperil on pretty much all of his targets. So Imperil has been a term that was used, I think, ever since Final Fantasy XIII, and it's basically a debuff that increases the weakness an enemy has on a certain element. In Golbez's case, that is Dark. So basically what this means is his skills will hit a lot harder because they will hit weakness. Here is where the Imperil changes that the game recently had come into play. If you hit weakness, you're gonna hit weakness, period. It doesn't matter if the enemy is strong against magic, like the boss of this Chaos mission. The boss of this Chaos mission is strong against magic. Golbez's attacks are magic, but because he's going to be hitting for a weakness because it's weak against Dark, it doesn't matter. Golbez will still hit like a truck, as opposed to before the Imperil changes happened, which would make things more complicated. This is his Lost Chapter, so he is a boosted character right now, or synergy, or whatever you want to call him. So you should take his damage with a grain of salt, but the idea is basically that he will still crit for close to max damage anyway. That said, he has little to no utility, so he's purely a character that relies on doing damage, so you're going to have to invest 3 ingots in him for him to be remotely good. He also has the Shadow Dragon stacks that give him access to his plus skills. The higher the stacks, the more hits the dragon will do after the initial skill, up to a maximum of 2 brave hits. Before his EX Plus, you had to use skills to gain stacks, but with 2 ingots, he can start with his EX skill charged at the start of the battle. Casting his EX maxes his stacks for a few turns, so basically your job is to find a balanced rotation of skills and HP Plus that will allow him to deal damage while maintaining his stacks and a reasonable amount of longevity. I don't really think that this optimal rotation for Golbez is hard. I think it's like the free skill and 1 more skill and an HP plus in any order really, but if a wave ends, you're gonna have to take that into account because if you finish a wave with the skill, it will not charge the EX skill as much, and if you finish it with an HP plus, it's not gonna charge it at all, so you might have to make up for it by casting more skills. Use his skill 1 for single target damage and a max bravery buff, and his skill 2 for multi-target damage and an attack up buff. And that's pretty much my summary of him, so moving back to the fight, Wave 4 isn't really anything special either, it's just a trash wave like usual, so just take care of it the way you think is most efficient, I guess. I just used Twin Meteor here because I think it'll take less turns, and well, the boss is already weak against Dark, so it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, just save Twin Meteor for the boss, I guess, since it'll be more efficient. Right, so this guy, he has quite a few attacks he could use on you, but if you have a tank with you and keep him broken at all times, he's not really very threatening. He can also remove non-framed buffs for some reason, and this might actually be one reason why I think Y'shtola is bad in this fight, because her buffs are not framed, so she will constantly have them removed, so that would be bad. Thankfully, this is one party that relies on framed buffs, so they really don't care. Some might say that Warrior of Light is better for this than Bosch, and he honest to goodness is, but Bosch is not bad, and I did have to almost pity him when I pulled for him, so why not, I guess. Just, if you're gonna use Bosch, you're gonna have to be a little bit careful with his skill 1 uses. Like, you're gonna have to use it a little bit sparingly since this is one of the longer fights for reasons that you will see later on. But before that, we should focus on the problem at hand. So, his all attacks, some of them have a higher turn rate if he breaks one of your characters, so that's probably why Warrior of Light is more important in this fight than Bosch. He usually alternates between all attacks and single target attacks, but one of his single target HP attack, like, it has some brave hits and an HP attack after, but before the brave hits, like, he sets his bravery to 0, so I'm not really sure what's the point of him batterying with all attacks, but it's not really anything you have to go out of your way to pay attention to unless he's not targeting a tank like he did with Golbez right now, so yeah. Aside from that, he's not really very strong. Therefore, I'd like to fast forward until he does anything remotely interesting that I can explain, so that I don't have to bother you explaining every action that I take, because I don't really think that's entertaining content, so I'll meet you there. Alright, I mentioned an attack earlier that attacks the rest of your party, and if it breaks one of your characters, you're basically going to have to deal with him getting a higher turn rate. So yeah, that was not the attack that I was talking about, but I don't know if there's a way to tell when he's going to cast it, so I just battery up and hope he doesn't break me, or hope I get lucky, or I could just use Warrior of Light, or one of these things. But yeah, this attack, like the previous all attack that you just saw, basically batteries him up, but he's also getting a lower turn rate because of that, so I'm not really sure what the point is, so moving on. Or he could just cast it now, and that would be fine. But yeah, that was the attack that I was talking about. Homing Ray. It does not battery him up, but if he breaks one of your characters, he gets a high turn rate, and because of the break bonus, chances are you're probably gonna get a KO there. So try to battery up or have some amount of bravery so you can avoid getting broken. Okay, I did get a little bit lucky here. I thought I could just kill him with Rosa, but I was wrong, and I did get a little bit lucky, but yeah. So after you kill him once, he will cast Kiraga and do this attack, which will give him a lower turn rate, but that's fine. So yeah, just shave his bravery and it'll be fine. This is actually not a great time to summon yet, and you will see why later. Alright, we're back. I just used my last provoke with Bosch, and pretty much the first half of Phase 2 is pretty much identical to Phase 1 in that he'll use the same attacks and same pattern over and over again, with this one exception. Like, as you noticed here, he did an all attack, and he's going to cast another one right off the bat. So this all attack, there's probably a high chance that it'll be a battery and HP attack, which will probably KO you. Yeah, so this is a great time to summon. I took a little risk here with Golbez because I also had Bosch and I could break him, and yeah, it worked out for me, but yeah. Buff up, use your all attacks, your C65s, and use your summon, and you will hopefully kill him before he does this attack, unless you have mitigation, in which case you're fine. Battery up with Rosa. One thing to note is that he's weak against ice attacks, so Shiva is also a viable summon here, since Rosa will be hitting weakness because of Shiva. I also thought Tifa was a great friend support to use here because I used Bosch, so I did get broken a lot, which messed up my score. So I used the launcher to make up for that. And I also made a mistake here thinking I would hit weakness, but I did not because it's brothers and not Shiva, but it doesn't really matter. Just battery up normally. Do as I say, not as I do, viewers. So yeah, he's almost pretty much dead. So yeah, just do your best, go all out, and I think he's pretty much done. Alright, remember not to cancel your launches even if you know you have him killed, because you're gonna lose up on your 1% per character launch, so 1% scoring per character launch, so that will be bad. And I got the score, and I got the other missions too, so yeah. So my artifacts are about average, I would say, so it's not like you have to have like the perfect artifacts to do this fight, but you do have to have your boards mastered, including Brothers, which was out recently, so yeah, please take note of that, and this is pretty much it. And I hope this video was remotely helpful. I don't really think this is gonna become a trend, but I hope it was remotely helpful, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.